eagerly anticipated. And before we talk about it, I might as well apologise. Ruffy, I just wonder if the gremlins are at work as we get ready for the end of the season, because quite a few people are wondering whether we've been blocked on this social media day. But no, we've had a few technical issues. My apologies. Rangers against Celtic on the Sunday. Are you excited in any way about it, Ruffy? Is it just flat as a pancake, or is there that wee edge from both teams, Rangers, to keep the unbeaten run going?
Yeah, it's Rangers and Celtic, isn't it? It's everything to a lot of supporters, both sets of supporters. They want their team to win and they get the bragging rights to go with it. I know the season's coming to an end, but there's next season to build on. There's, as you've just touched on there, the Rangers supporters will be looking to get through the whole season without getting beaten, and all the Celtic supporters can hang on to it as a victory. But it's still important for both sets, and they'll look on it as much as ever. The game itself, I think, will still be as intense because the players will want to win the game as well. So, I'm looking for. I think I always look forward to it. I think we always look forward to it because it usually brings up something to talk about.
Well, I have to say, it's the first time I think in 21 years Rangers could get to a situation, Tam, where they're going through an entire season without being defeated in the league. It's no mean feat. It's a hard. I mean, I know a lot of people think, "Oh, Rangers or Celtic," you still got to go and beat teams.
No, definitely. I think you've seen the cup, Peter, that anybody on their day is capable of beating one of the big guns. So I think it'd be a great achievement for Rangers to get through the season unbeaten. I think this will obviously be their toughest test. Celtic come to Ibrox to try and burst their bubble in terms of unbeaten season, but I don't think they will. I don't think there's been as much apathy about a game in terms of Celtic fans in this. They've not got a manager. The league's done. 10 in a row's out the window, and I don't think a lot of Celtic supporters are too bored about this game, to be honest. So I think Rangers have got more to play for. I think, and I think they'll win the game. I think Rangers will win the game. I think they'll win 2-1.
Yeah, Steven Gerrard clearly feels as if there's something to play for.
From our point of view, there's still some things that we want to try and achieve as a group. We want to try and set the clean sheet record if we can. We want to try and remain unbeaten. We've got a big game to look forward to this weekend. So from my personal point of view, I want to try and keep the players as motivated as I can to try and finish the season as strong as we can.
29 wins, Darren, 6 draws. It's been some run.
Yeah, listen, you have to hold your hands up, Peter. They've been exceptional in the league. And we spoke about the other day there. To concede 9 goals is incredible. I mean, I think Liverpool many years ago conceded 15 goals in a season, I think it was. But to concede 9, I think they've conceded 3 at home. As I say, you have to hold your hand up and credit where credit's due. But I'm sure, having played in them, I know what it means to both sets. One's going to burst the bubble and make sure they win an Old Firm game and make sure they dent their unbeaten run. And the other team's going in want to maintain their unbeaten run, and obviously especially at home. So it's always a massive game. There's obviously nothing to play for, but in Old Firm games, there's rivalry and fans wanting and everything. It's just I'm buzzing for it. I'm looking forward to it, and it's just a wonderful game.
Yeah, well, the manager obviously was well aware that the remit for Rangers was to stop 10 in a row, but he didn't shirk the issue on their failure in the Cups.
If I was sitting here now as the League Cup champion and looking forward to a Scottish Cup semi-final, but we were miles behind in the league, this season would be a massive failure. The remit this season, the main focus was the league. That doesn't say that we didn't want to go for everything, because we gave everything we could in terms of the European point of view, and I think that was really respectable performance from the players again. We fell short in the Cups domestically. That's on all of us. We'll have to put that right moving forward.
Yeah, gradual progress. Again, building a championship winning team and then obviously trying to make an indent next season in the Cups and increasing the quality of the squad. That's what's in order for Steven Gerrard, but there's no doubt he'll enjoy it this weekend if he can get a win or at least avoid defeat as well. Philip Hillander, Scott Arfield out injured, and it looks as if young Jack Simpson will come in there at the back end for this game against Celtic. John Kennedy, meanwhile, will be hoping he can give the Celtic fans something to cheer with a win in this game, just to dent Rangers' unbeaten record. All sorts of speculation about him being in the line for Director of Football. I don't think he was having any of that.
So again, it's just something that at the end of the season I have to sit down and consider what my options are and what kind of is the right thing for me to do alongside what's available. So again, there's nothing in it. It's a pure speculation regarding the Director of Football thing. But for me, probably in 2 or 3 weeks' time, I'll have to sit down and consider what's the next move for me.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he's had. I feel sorry for John, because I think somewhere along the line, Ruffy, he's had to try and quash a PR nightmare with some people's perception of him and the reality of what the boy really is about.
I think he's done particularly well since he's went in. At the press conferences, he's looked very good, very sensible, straightforward, answering all the questions correctly. There's a lot of guys been in that position before at clubs when they're thrown in there. But the magnitude of Celtic must be unbelievable for him. It's something he would have never ever imagined that he'll have to have done. But he'll learn from it, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of other clubs, when a manager becomes available, will notice how well he's done since he's been left in charge. And by all accounts, everybody thinks he does a good job in the training ground. So I don't think it'll be difficult for him. Whenever he decides, or whatever Celtic decide, what he's going to do, I'm sure he will find somewhere that, and possibly it'll be him that will make that decision, what his next move's going to be. So we'll just have to wait and see what that is.
Well, if anybody said at the end of the season, coming towards the final few games, Celtic would be 20 points behind, their manager would be sacked, and it would be an interim boss in charge, you would have been looking for a straitjacket, to be honest with you. They were red-hot favourites for 10 in a row, and it all came crashing down. Now it's about the pride of one game over 90 minutes. Mikey Johnson, almost a forgotten man, could come back into contention. James Forrest almost certainly will come back into contention, and what a bonus that is for Celtic in Scotland, according to John Kennedy.
I think if Steve's watched us, he'll have identified that when James came back in, he was looking sharp and he was looking like his old self. It's a very minor setback. He's missed 2 games. But he's back fit again, and there's no worries with him going forward again. And in terms of for Scotland, he's been a big player, in big moments for Scotland over the years, and he's certainly the type of attacking and creative player that you would like to have in your group. So I'm pretty sure Steve will be keen to obviously consider James for the Euros.
So Tam, you have gone 2-1 Rangers, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I've gone Rangers to win 2-1. Darren, what about yourself?
I'm going to go 2-1 Celtic, Peter. There's a boy playing, obviously, it's his last Old Firm game, and this is obviously from a Celtic point of view, that he's been such a good captain for them. He's been such an influence on all the players, even the ones that have left. You look and even on social media stuff, and you look and you see they still call him Skip. The respect they have for him, and I think that the players at Celtic owe Scott Brown a performance on Sunday, and I hope they go out and give him a performance, and he can finish with a win. And I just feel that will be in, and Scott will go out and he gives his all in every game anyway. But I just feel they'll have a little bit edge about them. They want to burst the bubble, obviously. But I just think they'll have both teams will have an edge. But the Celtic need a performance to give everyone a lift going into next season, and that's why I fancy them 2-1.
Ruffy, so it's 2 for Rangers, 1 for Celtic. Where's your money?
Yeah, but I think the stats you've thrown out for Rangers, particularly at home, goals conceded, they haven't been beaten. Yeah, Celtic have had chances in the other games, but they don't seem to be able to take them. So I'm going to sit in the fence in this one, and I'm going to go 1 each.
Okay, so a difference of opinion there, and I have to tell you, because of the predictor, it's mega tight. I mean, this is just This is fantastic. This reminds me of the classic 1980s Olympic races in the 1500 metres, the mile, and of course, the 800 metres. It's Steve Cram, Steve Ovett, and of course Sebastian Coe. It's that tight, by the way, Tam. It's going to be I think the end of our head-to-head is going to be whoever just dips their chest at the front at the tape.
Yeah, listen, it's very, very tight. Ruffy's done well to pull himself back into it because he was tailed off at one point, and I thought they were going to have to put a white flag out, but he's managed to get himself back in it. And he goes into the last 3 games with a sniff of getting out of buying the boys' dinner.
Yeah,
and wine.
Absolutely. Yeah, and wine. And by the way, good wine, I have to say.
Beer night.
What about Bollinger? He's on the Bollinger. He needs to be
absolutely.
My only saving grace that Tam's idea of a really good wine will be $3.99 out of somewhere.
Aldi.
Absolutely. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, it's going to go right down to the wire, which is exactly the way we want it. I mean, I must admit, I have to say, Tam, I was so far ahead at one point. I thought you two were going to need snookers, and then all of a sudden you've just gone on a great run too. So it's fantastic. Hibs against St Johnstone. Hibs sit third, 6 points ahead of Aberdeen. Tam, I think your boys have done enough. I can't see Aberdeen catching them.
I don't think so either. I think that Aberdeen would have to win their 3 games, and I don't think they'll do that. So, listen, Hibs can seal it tomorrow. Listen, a win tomorrow against St Johnstone, and you seal 3rd place. It'd be a great achievement for Jack Ross and the whole squad, and the whole club. It's a club that's going places, I feel. Off the pitch again, I think they've sold 4,000 season tickets for next season. Ron Gordon's dipping into his pocket. He's backing the manager. So, listen, 3rd place, still in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. It's a good time to be a Highbie. So, hopefully tomorrow they can go out and beat St Johnstone. It could be a dress rehearsal for the Scottish Cup. Who knows? But it'd be good to put down a marker tomorrow and beat St Johnstone. I think Hibs will. They've got more to play for. And I think Hibs will win 2-1.
Yeah, a big thanks to Mick Ward, who has suggested something that Tam might be drinking at the end of season dinner, Ruffy, that I haven't heard of in quite a while. El Dorado. Do they still make El Dorado? What
yeah,
was
I think
El
they do.
I
thought it would be. I thought it would be.
I don't know.
No, it's a wine. It's a thing with
wine.
wine. It's some kind of wine. No, I
producers
thought Tam
just said to me it's fortified wine.
Yeah.
I
thought Tam's more wine would be a wee Lanlick or Lanlick, as they know in Glasgow.
Well, anyway, well done to Mick Ward. Yeah.
The Jeff Sterling, they know even about alcohol, never mind the goals coming
in. So my producer can tell anything. Never mind goals. He knows about cheap wine and Buckfast.
That's because he's a Jakey.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't knock Jakies, by the way. I hang about with quite a lot of them. To be perfectly honest with you, Hibs against St Johnstone is one that Callum Davis is certainly well aware of the task they're facing.
They are a really good side. I think they played really well against the second half. I thought we defended really well, but I think they've got a lot of players with quality. It's kind of proven that the league position they're in. They've been consistently good all season. So again, it's going to be a really tough game. They'll have one eye on the semi-final as well, just like us. So it'll be hard to guess what team they'll put out. They've got a good squad, so it'll be an interesting game.
It's hard to wipe the smile off anybody who goes into work at McDermott Park at the moment, Darren. Just everything's just must be magic to be there at the moment.
It is. It's incredible. I've said all along, Peter, I think he's done an amazing job. Calamani's staff, and obviously the players, they got a slow start, but just the way they work, like defensively, they're exceptional. The 3 at the back and the 5 in midfield, and the 2 strikers do really well. But as a squad, they've done well, and it must be fantastic to go into training every day. And when you're winning games and you've qualified for the top 6, you've won 1 cup, you're in the semi-final of another cup. That's what it's all about. That's what makes football wonderful, and they must be loving it just now.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hibs against St Johnstone. I'm looking at it and I'm saying Hibs 2-1. Tam?
Yeah, I've went for Hibs 2-1 as well. Peter?
Ruffy?
Yeah, I think we've all went for 2-1. That's a bummer.
Oh,
That's
good.
not good.
That's a bummer.
Not good.
That's not good.
That's
It's not good if you laugh.
No,
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
I know. But no, I think St Johnstone are a stubborn side. You know, you have to do well to beat them. We saw what happened the Rangers game. Rangers had all the chances, but they dug in there and they got the reward. So I mean, they'll make it hard for Hibs, but I just think Hibs have got too much up front. You know, they've got too many people who'll chip in with a goal when the other one's not scoring. And obviously, I think the only trouble that Hibs will have at the weekend is probably if Xander Clark comes up for every corner. You know, that could cause a bit of trouble.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Ruffy, I have to tell you. Livingston against Aberdeen. Now, Aberdeen, I think next season will be a completely and utterly different side. If we're talking about St Johnstone, they'll be looking and thinking it's been a good season. I think David Martindale certainly will be looking back on what he's achieved at Livingston, and he'll look back with great pride, I think, Darren, at what's been achieved at Livy.
Yeah, unbelievable, Peter. And I did the... Tam obviously does Hibs television, and I did the television for the Livingston game, and I think I told you that at the end of the game he was going absolutely mental, and it was brilliant. Well, it wasn't brilliant to hear, but it was good to hear a manager, the passion in him, and just unacceptable because those boys have set standards. And they've set a really high standard, and people talk about Livingston, they're in your face, they're scrapping for things, but they've actually played a lot of good football this year. And he came out after it, and he was asked about his players, kind of, I don't know what the question was, but about letting them down. They said, we're finished in the top six, we've got to a cup final. He said, my players have been absolutely brilliant, and they have been brilliant for him. And David, and again, his staff have done really well, and they deserve all the credit, but I did like to hear that, because it's not him accepting, saying, "Oh, we'll finish in the top six. We've got to a final. We've kind of made it." They've set standards, and he doesn't want them going below that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got it 1-1. Tam?
I've got Livingston to win. I fancy Livingston to beat Aberdeen. I don't know if Aberdeen have got the stomach to go there and get a result. I think Livingston are, as Darren said, they've got a lot of spirit. The first half against Hibs should have been 3 or 4 up, and they must have got right into them at half time, because second half Livingston were excellent and could have nicked a draw at the end. And I just think at home on that pitch, have Aberdeen got the personnel to roll their sleeves up to go and win a battle? Not for me. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Livingston.
Wow, 2-1 Livy. That's good news, Ruffy. That'll be a big shock. If Tam gets points, if Tam gets 5 points for 2-1 Livingston, I will be saying, Ruffy, fair play to you, Tam. You deserve to win. It's as simple as that.
At this precise moment, this game is a big changer, because we've all went for different scores. I'm just gambling on Aberdeen because I need points desperately. I'm sure Stephen Glass won't go out with the formation he went out with last week. Can't leave 2 centre halves, unguarded. So I'm hoping he's learned his lesson for last week, and he's going to sit in and make it really hard and try and nick something. So I'm going to go Aberdeen 1-0.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because David Martindale mentioned that. It is, when you look back on their game against Aberdeen, it's just, well, he's dealing in inches in their defeat.
Yeah, I think we were a wee bit unlucky, if I'm honest. When you're talking about an inch, we're out the cup due to an inch, maybe hole hitting the woodwork, but we took the lead twice, so there's the positives we can take from that. Obviously, there's negatives as well, because we gave away that lead twice, but I think there's a lot of positives. But we're at home, and we fancy our chances, whoever we're playing at home, if I'm honest. The game plan doesn't change. We'll go out to try and pick 3 points up.
Yeah, I think fourth will not be somewhere, I think, Darren, that Stephen Glass would have wanted Aberdeen in this one. I mean, they've got Hibs at home and Rangers away in their final game, so he'd like to probably put a wee bit of pressure on and win this one.
Well, Peter, it just shows you how much it's changed when Ruffy's just said, now we're talking Livingston, we're talking Aberdeen. That Aberdeen are looking to nick it. You know what I mean? That's how far, maybe that's Aberdeen have dropped, but that's how far Livingston have come. And listen, Stephen's having a free hit at it just now. He's getting to look at the players, which ones are that he thinks he wants to keep, which ones he'll want to move on. So I think that's where it's good that he's coming just now, and he is getting to have a look at the players that he's got. But there needs to be a little bit more spirit about them, a wee bit more fire in their belly, Peter, because it's Aberdeen, massive club, and he's got a hard job. But as I said, he's obviously spoken to the chairman. He's come and he'll have funds to spend. You see in the papers he's getting identifying players just now. So I think it's good, but it is a hard job. I don't think fourth's good enough. They've had a really good budget, and Hibs have outplayed them this year. And I think Stephen will be kind of disappointed he's not got third.
Yeah, if you're listening to the podcast, you'll be enjoying it uninterrupted with just a constant bit of chat from us all. But if you're watching the programme live on YouTube and Facebook, YouTube's fine, but Facebook, we've had a monumental nightmare. So I must apologise to some people who've lost us, then got us back, then lost us, and then we're back again, hopefully. If you're watching it at your leisure later on, it'll all be edited together nicely, and you won't have the same hassle we're having now. But never mind. There's lots of people there who are sticking with us, thanks to Niall, Stuart Ramsey, and so many others who are still persevering as we look ahead to the weekend's games. I am looking forward to going to Paisley, Ruffy, on Saturday, a place that I frequented and lived in for a year of what I can only describe as complete and utter madness. It was fantastic. Great people, great area if you want to go out for a great nightlife. And I met some real characters, Ruffy. And every time I go back to Paisley, I always have a wee smile and think of those fantastic nightclubs I used to frequent.
But isn't it amazing how it's all changed? Because way back then, footballers were allowed to go out to a nightclub and get out and enjoy themselves. I don't think that happens now. I don't think players go out anywhere at all, to nightclubs. But in those days, you could go up to your place and you could see most footballers who were in the area having a good time, whether it was a Wednesday night or whatever, or a Saturday night. And it just shows you how the times have changed for professional footballers. But Paisley was a fantastic place to mingle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, St Mirren Hamilton was one. Look at Darren with that perpetual smile on his face. But you'll never believe this, Tam. I know you'll find this really funny, but that's where I met Macca. That's where we became friends. The two of us just propping up the bar at Toledo Junction in Paisley, or maybe on a Wednesday. Oh, absolutely! Listen, a little flick on, and I was there. And then off to Paris nightclub in Paisley. These were fantastic days. And Ruffy's right. You could go out maybe 5-6 nights a week, but on the key nights, maybe a Monday night, a Wednesday. I can remember seeing Derek McInnes on a Monday night in one of the places in Paisley. And then, of course, Wednesday, and then after the games on a Saturday, Tam, all the boys would be in, the Cotton Club in Glasgow. Celtic and Rangers players, there wasn't any madness. It was just great. Everybody could mingle.
No, I don't. Dan's obviously a bit older than me, but it was a Tuesday night for us because we were off on a Wednesday.
Just a wee bit.
I don't know how you. Aye. I don't know if you. How did you get on a Wednesday night? You not training on a Thursday, or did you just get in a Thursday Twitter?
Oh,
I never went out.
Well, let's be honest about it, Tam. Darren wouldn't have got into the Cotton Club. It was a really trendy place, Darren would have.
Buster Brown's, Peter. Busters.
Yeah, Buster Brown's, absolutely.
Is the Cotton Club, Peter, the one in Glasgow?
Yes. Oh,
the one in Glasgow. It goes up a big slope. You walk up it and you think it's great. Getting up it when you come out. You just freewheeled into Sunday Old Street.
or even worse than that, if you go up it and the bouncer says you're not getting in, you've got a big custard pie, you have to go back down it. The walk of shame. Anyway, apart from anything else, lots of people actually just remembering so many great clubs. And Darren's right, Buster Brown's. It just sounds as if I've had a really bad upbringing. Only a couple of times.
Ruffy,
because obviously.
Victoria's, yeah. There was nothing better than Victoria's. There was nothing better than Victoria's. There was a massive big queue. And Stephen Baxter was on the door, and you just walk up and walk in without a brass neck at all. You would just go, thanks, Stephen.
Yeah,
Off
absolutely.
you go.
The very last
That
time
was
I was in
before I finished.
Victoria,
That's
Ruffy.
where, Mac nearly pulled his maw. Didn't know the lights went off.
You're a bad person. I have to say, the very last time I was in Victoria's, Ruffy, was with, wait for it, Bobby Williamson, Jackie McNamara, and I think Ralph Callahan. And they
Jackie Senior,
just
Bob.
opened. Yes, Jackie
That was
Senior, and
after.
they just opened the door and they left me on my front garden because I was strictly lower division and they were Champions League drinkers, and they were laughing as they dumped me on my front garden. So anyway, everything in moderation. This is going to be a great game. I can't wait for it, Tam. St Mirren against Hamilton. It's the last chance saloon for the Ackies, surely.
Yeah, it is, Peter. And listen, I've been down there many times myself in that relegation battle, and I think that Hamilton need to win the 3 games, or at least 7 points. So it all starts tomorrow. Must win. St Mirren, I don't know if they'll have that much to play for, plus a big semi-final the following week. So they might rest players, had a tough game during the week. I think if St Mirren play a weakened team, I think Hamilton might get a result here. I just think they're hungry. And I'm going to go for Hamilton. I've got Hamilton to win. I've got Hamilton to win 2-1. Yep.
Well, that's great news that you've got Hamilton to win. That's fantastic. Because I've got St Mirren to win 2-0, Ruffy. What about yourself?
I've got St Mirren to win 2-1. 2-1 St Mirren for me.
This is it.
I think this is a big changer.
Need a result, Chipper.
By the way, did you know what this reminds me of, Ruffy? This is the week, Darren, when the horses are just coming round the bend and catching him. He's run out of steam, and we're now just about to catch him. It's going to be brilliant.
Listen,
Jim
Peter,
Goodwin, obviously.
Listen, Goody's done brilliant. He must have been hugely disappointed not to make the top 6, and got to two semi-finals. He's done fantastically well, but my heart's got to go with Chipper. Brilliant guy, absolute fantastic coach, and I just hope he can get a result.
Yeah, Jim Goodwin obviously is well aware of the fact that Ackies will be coming to Paisley to fight for their lives.
We won 7th place in the league. It's as simple as that. Any game against Hamilton is never easy, and particularly this one at the weekend where they're absolutely fighting for their lives. It's it's a cup final for them. It's as simple as that. I don't think they'll come here and sit in, and they'll come out as we would expect them to, and they'll try and get the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's another change. Fiona Docherty's just sent us a little message on Facebook. She says, do you remember Jackie O's? Fiona, there's not a nightclub that this entire team don't remember. We've been in them all. The thing about Jackie O's, Darren, is... Absolutely. The thing about Jackie O's is you had to find somebody that you knew in Fife who had a house that you could stay in. It's as simple as that.
No, Fifers.
You can't be getting a taxi back across the bridge. There's no chance, Fiona. Well done to Graham Alexander, Ruffy.
The big male stallion through there was the leash. That was the leash's pitch.
That's his demeanour. I think he still tells you about it in his after dinner. Yeah. What about Graham Alexander, Ruffy, manager of the month? Brilliant, great news for him. So early into his managerial career there.
Yeah, I mean, it done remarkably well. There hasn't been a level of consistency. I can't remember what the scores are that he's got to win that manager of the month, but. No, I think you'll take it, and he'll put it on his mantelpiece, and he'll be hoping it's one of many. So I'm going to stick with him tomorrow. I didn't know he'd won that, so that just gives me more enthusiasm in going for Motherwell to win 2-0. I don't know if Lafferty is going to be playing for Kelly, but it was very noticeable with him not playing last week what a difference it is. So hoping he's not playing, and I'm going to go Motherwell 2-0.
I've got Motherwell to win 2. Yeah, I've got Motherwell to win 2-1. Tam, what about you?
I've got Motherwell to win 2-1 as well. I think that Kilmarnock will miss Lafferty. I was actually sitting beside him, and he's got a moon boot on. So unless he's made a Lazarus type recovery, he'll not be playing tomorrow. So I thought Kelly were a wee bit shot shy without him. So I'm going to go for Motherwell to win 2-1.
Yeah, 2 wins, no goals conceded, Ruffy, just in case you were wondering why he won it. But not exactly ecstatic performance. But nevertheless, I have to say, Tam, they played well against the Hibbies in that second half.
Yeah, they did. I think a lot of Motherwell supporters will be disappointed the way they started the game. I thought they paid Hibs maybe a wee bit too much respect. And Hibs were the better side for 70, 80 minutes. And then obviously got the goal. Tony Watt come on, done really well. I think he's obviously just coming back from injury. He'll be a decent player for them tomorrow. So, no, I think they're a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team. Sometimes I watch them, I think they're a really good side. They've got some really good players as well. Scottish internationals, Alan Campbell in there. So I think they're capable of performing really well on the day if they fancy it. And hopefully that's the case tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. The last of the games, if we're talking about the last chance saloon for Accies, Ross County. Ross County for me, Darren, is like the car that you try to start up in the winter. And it sounds as if they've got a bit of traction. You can hear the engine turning over, and then it kind of fades out again. That's the way I look at Ross County. I thought John Hughes was going to really be able to kickstart them.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping, and that's inconsistency, Peter. That's unfortunately that's what you get, and that's what will frustrate Yogi. A fantastic result against Celtic, and then they've lost a couple, and so. But Dundee United, it'll be a hard one. Like Ross County, I've got a lot of respect for Roy McGregor and the way he backs his manager. I know we've had this discussion before with Ruffy and all that, and there's other managers might not, but I like Roy McGregor, and he does back his managers. And I mean, the squad they've got there is incredible. Just think on Saturday, Peter, that result that Dundee United got at Aberdeen must give Dundee United a lift. Now, they know they're going into the semi-final. They've got a squad that'll be fighting for places and all that. So I think it's going to be hard for Ross County on Saturday.
Yeah, what have you got? What are you going for?
I'll go 2-1 Dundee United.
Yeah, I've got 1-0, Tam.
To who?
To Dundee United.
Oh, I tell you, this could be a pivotal weekend because I've got Ross County to win. I've got Ross County to win. Yeah. I think Ross County will win. I think Dundee United will rest all their players again. They've done it against Kilmarnock last midweek. They rested 7
what's the score?
ahead of the cup game. I've got 2-1 to Ross County.
Oh, just 2-1 to Ross County.
Big Yogi.
Not something emphatic.
I don't know if this makes a huge effect, but see the points getting further up, the positions up the league.
Yeah.
It gives them money with the pandemic.
Financial.
I think they need to go out and try and get results, and it is financial as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ruffy, what have you got?
Well, I was surprised last week with Dundee United as well. I couldn't see that coming. I'm like Darren, that surely it's going to give them a wee bit of confidence. But as you know, throughout the season, I've been very persistent and in my decisions where Ross County is concerned.
Yeah.
So this is where it comes in. Watch what you vote for, because it could be you.
Just give us your scoreline instead of the chip.
United 7-0.
Yeah.
What's the score?
I'm going 2-1 Dundee United.
Well, Richard Henry's just said 2-1 Dundee United. Fiona Docherty 2-1 Dundee United. They all agree with you, Ruffy.
Oh, no.
And Alison's come up with this. Well, I was just about to say, quite a lot of people going that way on this one, but it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. There's lots of people offering us their thoughts on how they see this one going. And Ronnie Porter says, Peter, it seems as if it might just be a minor injury. As far as the Lafferty foot, who knows? He could be fit for this weekend against Motherwell, says Ronnie. Well, Ronnie, won't make a blind bit of difference. It's as simple as that.
He had a moon boot on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Darren knows.
Ronnie might be,
some recovery of that.
Be right. SPFL have awarded Cally, Thistle and Wraith joint Tunnocks caramel log wafer tea cake cup, so they get a chance to share it. Isn't that great? There'll be I don't know if there's a bus that will go round both towns, Ruffy, on this one, but they're sharing it anyway.
Fantastic. It means one set will get the caramel wafer and the other one will get the caramel logs. So
Oh dear, it's. I mean, the tournament will resume next year, but this will be known next year as the SPFL Trust Trophy. Now, there's an oxymoron if ever I've heard one. The SPFL and Trust in the same sentence. That is fantastic. I love it. And of course, next year we'll be playing the Premiership. Will be the SPFL Unbelievably Sporting Integrity Honest Premiership. So that's fantastic. They've all got these new titles for next season, Ruffy. You'll be in the championship, which is great. Can't wipe the smile off your face. It's great.
I don't know if you know this, but the wee red book's not coming out next year. It's the SPFL rule book that you can buy in any shop, so it keeps you up to speed.
on the ever-changing rules. You're absolutely right. Anyway, championship fixtures tonight. Wraith Rovers against Hearts. Of course, we had Nazy on yesterday thinking, will I hang my boots up at the end of the season? On a 2-year deal still left at Hearts? I don't think so.
Had to get the wheelbarrow out. Get the wheelbarrow out.
Get the white van ordered. Just keep pushing the cash in. There you go. Honestly, I don't know what journalist turned round and asked Nazy with a straight face,
no chance.
Are you really going to hang your boots up? 2 years left in his deal. Going back to the Premiership.
Like that, please. Please.
Absolutely. Nazy will be there in the Jambos, Darren. He'll be there, ready for the Premiership next season, won't he?
Yeah. By the way, of course, and his influence, Peter, on that squad. I spoke about Scott Brown earlier, and the influence he has in his team. Nazy has that influence on the Hearts squad, and I saw it myself. And Tam will not like this, but the semi-final against Hearts, when he came on, and because there was no one there, I was doing the television with Coisty, and you could just hear him. You know what he's like. He's a moan, and he just demands standards as well. And so I think he'll have a big influence in his teammates next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm going to say this, and I make no bones about saying it. I wish Stephen Dobie the best. It will be an emotional day for him. Queen of the South against Dundee. He's hanging up the boots. He might actually, after Queen of the South, go and play somewhere else. He's still to decide. But he's a brilliant lad. I don't think I have to praise him any higher than that, Tam. He'll have an emotional day. There might even be a wee tear in his eye.
Listen, Dobbs is a great lad. I came through the ranks from him at Hibs. Fantastic talent. It looked as if he was going to, ruin his talent. He was, I think he ended up at Dumbarton in League Two, but he managed to get a grip of himself and work his way back up again, and ended up having a fantastic career in England with Swansea and teams like that. So he's come back up, Queen of the South legend, top goal scorer of all time, and fantastic guy as well. So no, I wish him all the best. I hope he continues to play. I know he was travelling up and down from Lytham up to Dumfries, so maybe the travelling's got a bit tiring for him, and he maybe try and get somewhere closer to home. But I hope he keeps playing, because he still looks fit. He still looks as if he can play, and hopefully he keeps going. But no, I'll be emotional for him tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy the football at the Friday night championships. Yes, Dan.
Is it 2 or 3 promotions he had? Swansea, Blackpool. Was there someone else?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one, actually. Swansea, Blackpool.
I think you're right. Stephen Dobie, when he first started, everyone was. I'm not saying he was a big thing, but he was a huge prospect, and he did lose his way. And I think he went down south, and he made himself become a really, really good player down south. And when he came back up, just his experience and his knowledge and all that, I think he's a great career.
Yeah, and quite a lot of people mentioning it will be an emotional time coming up. Not the Rangers-Celtic game, but possibly the final game for Scott Brown, when a number of fans will obviously I think Celtic want to try and make a huge display around Celtic Park for the fans to say goodbye to Scott Brown as well. We'll talk about that nearer the time too. Players hanging up their boots, some players going to play elsewhere, some players looking for jobs. It's not the glamour that everybody associates with football. A lot of footballers looking for employment over the summer. It's a worrying time. Just a couple of points before we go, boys. If I had one player that I could sign for my team, one choice of a player in the English Premier League, excuse me, other than the obvious ones everybody's talking about, De Bruyne and everyone, but I love Edison Cavani. He is sensational. He's unbelievable. If it's not the outside of the boot, it's his movement, it's his bringing in other players, and he scores goals. How good does it get with Edison Cavani, Ruffy?
You find somebody in a wide area that can put a decent ball into the box and he'll be there. Just fire it into an area, and he has an unbelievable knack of making himself available in that area, as you say, whether it's an overhead kick or a hitch kick or a header or whatever. He knows, in that area, he's just a predator. And it was fantastic to see him going through the years and scoring these kind of goals at every club he's been at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm glad he's came to English football, because he was always one of those where you see him at, I think it was PSG, he scored a ton of goals, and you always thought, could he come to England? Well, people would say, could he come to England and do it? He's one of the ones, because English Premiership think they are the very, very elite league, and to be fair to him, he's came over here at the tail end of his career, and as you said, he's been absolutely phenomenal. What a striker. His movement's incredible for any young player to watch. Peels off the back of people, gets across people, and as Ruffy says, just put it in an area, and he's finishing lethal. So I'm glad he's came and showed how good he is in terms of English football and all.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, they said the same of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Look what he did for Manchester United in English football.
Larson.
And they also... Larson. Well done, Tom. Well done, Tom. Great memory. Anyway, apart from that, Scotland's women have been drawn in Group B for the 2023 World Cup qualifiers. Spain, Ukraine, Hungary and the Faroe Islands. That is a tough group for them. They'll do well to get out of that. What a really difficult group that is for Scotland's women. But fingers crossed, we'll follow their progress throughout it all and see how they fare. On this very day, on April the 30th, 1994, quite a few people all got together. Do you know what happened in 1994 on April the 30th? Somewhere in Liverpool, Ruffy.
Is it something to do with... No, I'm not going to take a guess, because you'll just laugh at me if I get it wrong.
Well, all the legends got together. It was every legend on the pitch for the final match in front of the Kop. So it was one of those days where people were waving goodbye to the Kop. And the one thing that reminds me of, when you talk about great games with in Scotland, with Celtic, with Rangers, with Manchester United, and of course Liverpool, when they score a goal, Tam, and the whole crowd used to go right down. As Dalglish or Keegan put the ball in the net. That's my abiding memory, Darren, of great match of the day when you used to see it. It was just incredible.
Peter, you're not going to believe this, that actually it came on the other day there. I'm not very sure. It was when I played at Anfield against Liverpool, and Gary Gillespie scored after 4 minutes into the Kop. And it was just unbelievable. We actually beat them 2-1, and I played right back that day. And I watched it the other day there, but it's one of those stadiums. It's just incredible to play it, and as you say, the Kop was just something special.
That's a good claim to fame.
I was going to say,
My
memory of the Kop is not full of Liverpool supporters. It was full of Scottish supporters. The night we played Wales.
Yeah.
It was absolutely jam-packed.
Ruffy, that's where you made your world-class save, and you made a few in your time, but that was your best save of all time, wasn't it, Ruffy?
Well, it was an important one, because we knew whoever scored first was going to win it, but the other goals we scored were brilliant. Kenny's header the build-up to it was brilliant.
Yeah, bucking on the overlap, boom, cross, Dalglish, Argentina, here we come, and then the problem started because, Ruffy on his left-hand side there has got Bollinger that he's been celebrating Partick Thistle's win, and I'm pretty sure that was one of the problems as well when half the Scotland starting army got to Argentina and watched what the boys produced. But I'm not going to berate. Would you believe it? This has been a technical nightmare. My apologies to anyone who's had a few problems with it. All I would say is we'll be back on Monday to look back over the Old Firm game and all the other games and see who's ahead in the head-to-head as well. Enjoy your football this weekend, and please remember to respect everyone. It is only a game of football. It is not life and death. Thanks to Tam, Darren, Ruffy, and myself, Peter Martin. Thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.